In this video, I'll show you how to build Universal Dashboard and debug it in Visual Studio. So first of all, I have the Universal Dashboard source code downloaded. If you go into my Universal Dashboard bin debug folder, you'll see that I have the source code built. You can also build that in Visual Studio by right-clicking on the Universal Dashboard project and clicking Build, and that will output those files into that directory. The other thing that I want to do when I'm developing is to start the Node Webpack dev server. So if I open a command prompt in the client directory for Universal Dashboard, the first thing you'll want to run is an npm install. I've already done that. And then next you want to do npm run dev. So what this will actually do is it will start the Webpack dev server, and that listens on port 10,000. So that's what actually serves the client-side JavaScript. So you can actually make changes to the JavaScript and it'll automatically recompile based on what you change in there. The other thing that I've done is I have a dashboard PS1 file. You can see it's loading up the module from the directory where I actually compiled that source code to. So if you look here, this is where that Universal Dashboard community.psd1 file is. Then I'm just creating an empty dashboard and I'm starting the dashboard. When you're developing, you got to make sure that you start the dashboard on port 10,001. In developer mode, the Universal Dashboard client side will try to read data from that port. It'll communicate with the web server on that port rather than on other ports you specify, so you'll want to do that. So now what I can do inside Visual Studio is you can see I set a couple breakpoints. I set one inside the dashboard controller. This actually returns the dashboard, and also the start dashboard commandlet. So if I do debug attach to process PowerShell, you'll see this Windows PowerShell is the one I want. One reason I usually can tell is that the title says Windows PowerShell. The other thing that you can do is if you type the PID variable in your Windows PowerShell window, you'll see that this is 22036, which is the same process ID as the one in Visual Studio. So I want to attach to that. You'll see that we have no symbols loaded because we actually haven't started Universal Dashboard yet. But if we were to run my dashboard script, you will see that now my breakpoint has turned red over here, and I'm actually inside the debugger inside Visual Studio. So now you can see that I'm inside Visual Studio. I can step over the code, and then you can see the value of variables, that kind of thing. If I were to let this run, it'll actually start up my dashboard. You can see it's now running inside PowerShell. If I go to a web browser and navigate to port 10,000, it'll start to load, and then you can see here that now we hit the dashboard controller because it's coming out and it's requesting the dashboard for this particular dashboard. Set some variables, and you'll see here is the actual dashboard that we created with new UD dashboard. Now we'll let that run, and if we go back to the window here, you can see now we're hello debugging.